Let's go with Miles. Excellent. How can we help you, my friend?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Miles.
Morning. I put a lot of thought into this last night. I've just turned 40 a couple of weeks ago. We've got our second. We've got our second baby. We've got a baby boy due in 7 weeks.
Awesome, dude.
So I'm next 20 years. I really want to set our family up financially. I feel like I'm not where I want to be with that. So that's something I really want to work on. And just want to raise my game, be pushed, cajoled, challenged, and saying it as it is, I want to be a fucking glowing testimonial for you guys, so that a year from now you go, this is what he was doing, but look at the transformation. So it really is important for me to do that, not just for me, but also to be a role model, because it wasn't that long ago where I was in this room completely green, never spoke before. So I have to remind myself how far I've come, but now I want to go to the next level. So that's where I'm at.
Great, really good.
So you said that the challenge is you. So do you want to expand on that a little bit to give us some? Why do you feel the challenge is you? What do you feel we can do right now to help you?
I think probably being, sometimes I feel like everybody, especially me, needs somebody to say, good, well done in terms of the numbers that you've done, but here's what you should be aiming for. It's almost like, well done, you did that, but not to get complacent with, not to downplay it, but also not to be complacent with it, and to really be like challenged to like raise my standards and be aiming for much higher, because I'd much rather aim for 2 million in the next 12 months and fail and know that I'll end up much higher than
it's a great point, and we could pull out a figure all day long, but what's your figure and what does aim higher mean to you? Because I know where I want to be in my business, and if I hit that target I'll feel amazing, but that figure for me doesn't mean that's your figure, and my figure can be your figure, but what does more mean to you? For you in a year's time to feel great, what does that look like financially? How much do you, because you've got a business partner, right, Chris? Are you 50-50? Right, okay, so that's another dynamic to it. How much does he want to be earning from this? How much do you want to be earning from this? Do you know that figure?
I don't know yet. I don't know it yet. My vision for the business, and obviously for those of you that don't know, Liam and I have been friends for a number of years. I definitely want to turn our coaching company into a training company with verticals the way that you guys do. So like NLP and CBT and therapy. I really want to have different modalities under our umbrella. I want to be in a position to have our own speakers, our own MCs, shining the light on them. I feel like I've got to a point in my journey where I don't need the spotlight anymore. I don't need to be the front man anymore. I want to help other people to do that too. And I actually know that is arguably not the fastest way, but it feels like the most congruent way for me to achieve my goals is to help create a platform where other people can grow.
I think I think it's all really good and great, and love that. But one thing which I would be nailing first is to get your one vertical up to a level first, and you could get your own vertical, your own thing, with you not doing all the speaking as well over time, up to £5-6 million a year. I'm not saying you can't do more than that, but I feel that would be a really good positive next step around that figure on one training vertical, doing it more effectively, get better at doing that one thing first before you go and branch out and try and do lots of different things. I've went and done lots of different things, 9 verticals, and it's been really, 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 really good. But I still could get the same result with half those verticals, actually. That's the reality.
I think what happens for most business owners is most business owners do something, do it, keep working at it, it's not quite breaking through, keep working at it, get bored, So what's over there? They go over there, and then they let this go down, right? And then they go, oh, right, now I'm going to come back here a little bit. This goes up a bit, that goes down. And then they go over here, and this goes down. And then what you end up with is you end up not really growing, and really actually one of the best skills of a really good business owner, regardless of whether it's speaking or not, is discipline. It's having the discipline to be able to do the boring things. Because to you, it might be not exciting enough, it might not be in line with your vision that I want all these other people working with me and I want this happening and I want that happening. But you're also saying, hey, I've got a place where I don't need to be in the front, but actually the vision that you've got is you're like, I'm done with being in front. I now want to be the man where everyone's working for me. So it's still got some ego attached to it, right? You know what I mean? So what I would say to you is I think that £250,000 is a good effort, especially for a new speaker. You've come out, you've proven it, you've sold, you can do all the things. But on the journey, it's exactly what Liam said. You've got long yards yet in that. You know, you should be looking to get that to £2 million. And it's seasoned. So if you look at the season, right? So you've had, really what you've had is you've had the season of learning speaking. And now you can do that. You can sell from stage, you can tell great stories, you've got a signature solution, you've got a business, you're making money, and you've had that learning season. You've got to the end of the learning season, and now you're good. And the problem is you haven't done the growth season. So your season now is to grow that business, right? Now that you've got the core skill set to be able to do it. So now it's growth, and later on, the season after growth might well be, okay, let's expand in different directions. But that's next, and it's not now. So I think that you have to accept the season that you're in, get the discipline to say, right, I am going to make this, in the next 12 months, I'm going to drive this to £1 million business, 30% net profit, so me and my business partner can have 6-figure salaries and be in a more comfortable financial position. And then the next season, next year, will be, hey, right, now am I going to grow this to 2 million, or do I want to systematise this and go in a slightly different direction? That would be the next season. But actually what I would do is get your £1 million year under your belt. Then I would double that, I'd get to 2 million. And then you've got to make a decision. Do you want that to be 4 million? Or do you want that to be partners to grow in different directions? So I still think you've got 2 seasons in front of you before that vision even becomes something that you should be considering.
Yeah, so the challenge I have is I've kind of carved out a niche in Forestry England with my role, and I'm the go-to guy, it sort of seems now, for that, for presentations, and colleagues are coming to me from national. And I'm just a bit concerned that that's going to get in the way of my ambition with Make It and transformation. So how do I sort of counterbalance, because I'm building more and more of a presence with the day job, and obviously I want to come away from the day job, so I don't want that to then sort of colour what I'm doing going forwards.
Yeah, okay. So look, the first thing when you're transitioning from a job into a business, the way that I always say it to people is, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to work out what it is you earn. You've got to work out what that net figure is that you take home from that particular job. And you've got to figure out how many products or services do you need to sell in order to replace that income. Once we know those numbers, you then need to look at your time, and you need to study your time, and you then need to reduce the hours in your job to make way for the time to be able to go out and replace the income in this business. You then run the business until the income that you generate in the side business, which is going to be the main business, overtakes the income in the job. Yeah. So that's like the simple, fundamental way to do it. And if you do that, so let's say you need to sell 4 programs in order to replace your full-time income, and you need a day or 2 days per week, you go to your work and you say, look, I love working here. I've had some health issues. I would like to reduce to 4 days per week. And then you have 1 full day working on your business, right? And then you're going to be able to overtake quicker because you've now allocated time to it. And eventually it's like, I need really to go to 3 days. And you just reduce your time and your hours that you work with those. If they don't want to do that, you can turn around and say, how would it be if I did some contracting work where instead of me working 5 days a week for you full time, I work 3 days a week for you, or 2 days a week, or I work a day rate where you promise me 8 days per month, and you start to engineer the exit from the business over the long term to make sure the income in the side hustle overtakes the income in the existing job. That's just the way I do it. And then the other thing is put the hours in where you can put the hours in. I was actually watching something last night that I found really, really inspiring actually, which was, I don't know if any of you have watched it, but Ed Sheeran's done a documentary, a 4-part documentary on Disney. Has anyone watched it? Raise your hand if you have. It was absolutely inspiring, right? I really found it to be totally inspiring, and the reason being is he was a young kid that literally was at school, you know, in his own words, he's like, I'm ugly, I've got ginger hair, I like literally every reason is like, I'm never going to be a pop star, no one's ever going to want me to be a pop star, but I don't give a shit, I'm going to be a pop star. And he's like, I'm going to force the door. And he said, I knew because I didn't have the look, I knew that they weren't going to have me, I knew that I had to force my own path. So what I did, he said, is I did my, you know, I went to school, but after I finished school, every single day, I got on the tube, I went to London and I bussed. And then I went and bussed every single day. I then did 3 tube stops a day, bus, until somebody came and said they'd give me a gig. I got a gig, and he said, what I realised is I was never going to get the shot that other people were going to get, because the way I looked, the way I was, the style of music, which was folk music, I knew I was never going to get the shot. So what I decided to do was, I said, I'll take every single gig I can possibly get. He sang in country places, folk places, grime places, rap places, and he just literally outworked the competition to the point where eventually someone in one of the grime places, which everyone told him not to go and sing in, they turned around and said, look, I think you're amazing, we should film you. And that then started to engineer his breakthrough. So I think that what I'm trying to say to you is if you want it bad enough, you can make it happen. And if you have the hours after work, and you can go out to a networking gig and you can speak, go and do it. And then if you have the weekends, go and do it. You know, you gotta force the door and you gotta force your own path. And if you want this to happen, you know, you gotta get active.
You know, as long as you're not tied in for too long and you've got an exit on them. So if you want to stop doing the fucking podcast and do your own podcast, because that's what we're going to help you do as part of the Millionaire package, then, but you can use that as bag work. And you can use it to hone in your speaker skills, your storytelling, your pauses. So just the more speaking you can do, be it for other people, all your work, all your own stuff, just speak as much as you possibly can, but just make sure you've got an exit on that stuff, because it ain't going to be long, mate, and you're going to be cooking on gas, mate. Honestly, it ain't going to be long, mate. Give it up for Matthew, everyone. Well done, yeah?